In every other profession but teaching, you can Google everything you need to know about a place. But as a teacher, it's hard to find honest information. Welcome back to Teacher Tales, where we give you the keys to overcoming teacher burnout to find work-life balance and educational bliss if it still exists. I'm your host, Tony Rambles, and on this episode of Teacher Tales, we learned that finding your next teaching job is not as easy as it should be because the best information is not as available as we'd like. No surprises there. We'll cover the best steps to searching for your next school before and after the interview. Welcome back, everybody. I will be covering the article from Selected by Cross Country Education. Their website has tons of stuff for teachers and students. This article is by Tony Merrick. So shout out to Tony Merrick. This was written February 6, 2018. And apparently they have a FAQ section, which is, I believe, where this came from. How can I learn more about a particular school? So right now, as I'm recording this, it is May 30th. For me, school is over where I work in the district that I work in. Everybody's out, and many people, friends of mine, friends of yours, are transitioning, moving from one school to another, one district to another. And I wanted to look at, because I've only worked at one school for the last 5 years, but I subbed at a couple of different schools, so I know that it's different places that you go. The culture is different, the students are different, the admin's different. But I wanted to look at how do people figure out where they need to go or what's the best place for them to go? Because there's not like a place where you can kind of find all this information. A lot of people rely on, as we'll see in the article, hearsay, what their buddies think, people who've worked there, people who've worked with the people who work there. So let's start. Before you start interviewing, which is the first part of the article, it says check out the school's website if they have one. Hopefully it's up to date. Just like a picture is worth 1,000 words, a school's website speaks volumes. If the website is clear, up to date, and transparent about their mission, that's a great sign. If not, take note. If a school is on top of their game, there's no reason their website should be a mess. If the school you're interested in is missing a website, don't worry. Lots of schools are. Now, as an aside, this was written in 2018. Hopefully, every school has their website up to date and running. But let's continue. If the school you're interested in doesn't appear anywhere online, however, that's a red flag. Most schools have some internet presence, and if it isn't mentioned anywhere, that's also not a good sign. Okay, next part. Check out Great Schools, Niche, and Inside Schools. These are websites where people can look at schools' ratings and demographics, test scores, and student behavior. For some schools, they'll also show reviews from parents and students. There are thousands of schools on these websites. So if you want to learn surface level facts about a specific school, all of these websites are great for sharing. Next, check Glassdoor. A lot of schools are on Glassdoor. Just like any other Glassdoor page, school pages will have approval ratings in addition to employee and interviewee reviews. Information on Glassdoor can be helpful in helping you prep for an interview, but remember to take reviews with a grain of salt. Sometimes the reviews will be from people with a bit of an axe to grind with the school. Use your judgment to decide whether a negative review is a one-off or an honest opinion. when I look at reviews, and this is for anything, I always just go look at the worst ones to see if what their hang up is for whatever it is, can I deal with what that may encompass? So if it says, oh, admin's terrible, then okay, maybe I need to look at when that review was posted and if the admin is the same. That will couple with going to check out their website. If the review says something about, school lunch or sometimes teachers, because teachers turn over all the time. So there are some things that may have been posted or said that may not actually apply anymore. So that's something to also keep in mind whenever you're looking at reviews. Next, it says scour social media, and it specifically says Facebook and LinkedIn. Facebook is a pretty revealing source of information. It will give you a good idea of how schools communicate with kids and parents, as well as a good sense of what they're proud of. Facebook is used to showcase achievements, and the school's page will tell you what they value. I also think that X is a place that things are posted quite often. I know with my department in my school, they love to post things there because they want to showcase what they value. So that may be pictures of kids winning stuff. That may be pictures of people that they hired. So X I would throw in here as a place to look as well. LinkedIn is also a great tool you can use to learn more. LinkedIn gives people a chance to endorse individuals at skills they're great at and to give reviews about their character. By looking at how other people talk about the school's leaders, ooh, that's good. You can get a good sense of whether this might be someone you want to work with. I never thought of that, but that is definitely a great idea. When I used to interview a lot of people for my previous show, I would check their LinkedIn and look at what people thought they were good at. And, of course, other things. But yeah, next piece. Call a friend, which is one I think most people will probably go with first. You can probably learn the most about a school by asking someone who already works there. If you know someone who works at a school you're interested in, you should set up a casual conversation to ask about the experience. Of course, don't go in with guns blazing and with preconceived ideas about what their work might be like. Be chill, be respectful, and ask higher level questions about what they like or dislike or what their day-to-day life is like. Many people are happy to share their views about their job and will give you an honest overview of what the school they work is like. I think that it's important for us to be honest about what we like and dislike about the schools that we're at. However, and I've seen this being in teacher groups, shout out to Teacher Triumphs. You can go follow my Facebook group. We're doing great things there. Also, talking to other teachers, being friends with teachers. Not all teachers are honest with themselves in how they contribute to what the school culture may look like or how they contribute to what admin does or how they react to what people do or kids do. And of course, we all have blind spots. I'm sure I have some area of school that I'm just not, I can't see it. It's a blind spot. So whenever you're talking to your friends and other coworkers that you may know through somebody, just still take that with a grain of salt because people have their personal issues that sometimes they bring to work, and then that can help facilitate some distrust in relationships. So each person's experience is different at their school. At least that's what I always look at it as. I really like the place that I work, and I'm sure there are some other people who hate it. So if you can, I would try to gather as much information as you can from different sources to kind of get a well-rounded view. Next part is if you've already nailed down an in-person interview at the place. These are some different things that you can do once you get to this place. Number one, ask the principal or assistant principal for stats and metrics. It's perfectly reasonable to ask an administrator for metrics on student demographics and performance. In addition to stats that tell you about what the rest of the staff is like. So that could look like percentage of staff with master's degrees, percentage of staff of color, average number of years, experience, so on and so forth. Asking about these metrics will not only tell you who you'll be working with, but who you'll be working for. Next part, talk to school staff who aren't teachers. One of the best sources of information is the school secretary, the school security guard, and I know personally, the school bookkeeper can sometimes be a great source of knowledge and inspiration in our case. You know who you are. Because a lot of times they will see a lot of different clubs, organizations, sports, everybody who has to deal with money, which is a lot of people in school. They typically will have to go through the bookkeeper. So you could keep that person in mind as well as you're putting people on this list of people to speak with who are not teachers. Continuing, they see everything that goes on and generally have a good pulse on how well a school runs. Usually during an interview, you'll have the chance to wait in the office or to greet different types of staff at the door. Use this opportunity to have a casual conversation. Sometimes these casual chats are a good way to get information on how kids interact with teachers and how the administration handles issues. Next, ask to speak to teachers and students. If you've already talked to the principal or hiring manager for the school, but you still want to know more, it's perfectly reasonable to ask if you could speak to teachers and students there. While students and staff members at the school might be a bit guarded about their responses, they'll still likely reveal what they value about the school and what they'd like to see improve. Next, look at how the teachers and administrators talk to students. I really like this one because sometimes just observing, not even talking to people, can give you a great deal of information as well. Continuing. One of the most telling signs of how a school works is how school administrators and teachers treat kids. Pay attention in the times you'll be walking through the hallways during the interview and watch how teachers talk and interact with students. Are they super strict? Are they listening to kids' concerns? Are they checking in with kids to see how they're doing? Observe those interactions and think about if you'd be comfortable interacting with kids in the same way and whether you respect the way the adults in the building are treating the kids. That is a great one because especially during passing periods, you can see how teachers and administration interact with kids when they're outside of the classroom, which I would say is a more authentic interaction. Because sometimes there are students, not sometimes, a lot of the time, there are students that are walking past adults that they don't know. So how do they treat those adults? You know, whether they're telling them to get to class or it's a fist bump or one thing or another. How are those students responding to those adults? And then number two, how are those adults, whether it's teachers or support staff, how are they interacting with students? Are they speaking? Are they high-fiving? Are they attentive to what's going on in the hallways? Passing periods can really tell you a lot. Are there teachers in the hallway at all in these passing periods? That's a big one too. So, concluding, it says, while digging for information on schools can be a bit of work, it's worth it. You spend a lot of time at school as a teacher. You should go the extra mile to research about a place you'll potentially be spending most of your time and to have an idea of what it stands for and how it operates. I think that is a great place to end. So let's recap. Before you start interviewing, number one, check out the school's website. Number two, scour the internet on places like great schools, niche, and inside schools if you want to look for reviews from students, parents. You can get demographics, test scores, that kind of stuff there too. Check out Glassdoor to find out how teachers are rating and reviewing the school. Scour social media, Facebook, LinkedIn, as well as X to see what they value and what they post. They should be posting stuff. It's 2024. Like, come on. Lastly, and probably the first thing that you or I would do is call a friend. You probably know someone who's worked at the school or worked with the admin at the school at some point or another. Next, if you've already interviewed in person, you can ask the principal or assistant principal for stats or metrics. You can talk to school staff who aren't teachers. You can ask to speak to students and teachers, of course. And if you have the opportunity, look at how the teachers and administrators talk to the students, possibly during the passing period or some other minor interaction. Shout out to Tony Marek on the selected website for the article. I'm glad I came across it because I wanted to talk about these things. And of course, that is our episode for today. I'll have Sharita, a multi-time guest on the show, back to talk about school culture this Thursday. That is going to be an excellent episode. For more teacher tips on burnout and time management, join the Facebook group, Teacher Triumphs, Overcoming Burnout and Balancing Life. This is where we share applicable strategies and encourage each other on the journey through education. Until next time, keep teaching, keep learning, and I will see you all on the next journey.